Hi everybody, my name's Claire and I work with Impact Hub Yerevan. I'm from the Media Innovation Studio in the UK and right now we're working together to launch these cast projects in 3 villages in Armenia. So what this presentation is about is really explaining a little bit more about community journalism and how you can tell stories about your village. So the first thing to say is I've been a journalist for a lot of years, and there's some basics about how you might find stories in your area. So there's a couple of golden rules that we talk about: who, what, where, when, why, and how. So these are really the building blocks of a story. Who? Who is it that you're talking to? What is their name? What is their position in the community? How old are they? Are they married? Are they not married? So the real people make a story. What is actually happening? What is the issue? How can you describe it easily? Whereabouts in your village is it happening? Where is your village in relation to the rest of the town or the city? When did it happen? When did it start? When did it finish? How long did it go on for? Why? These are the questions that you might have to do a little bit more research about. You might ask more questions to find out the answer. And how is what happened really explain the background. So what is community news? I'm sure you're all thinking about ideas for stories. Just some examples, it could be events. So in your village, what events are there? Who organises them? Who goes? What happens? What colour are the events? What do you eat? What are you celebrating? What has happened in the past? What's going to happen in the future? Community news could be issues. What are the things that people complain about? What are the things that make people happy? What are the battles? What are the challenges? What are the successes? In terms of politics, what decisions need to be made? Who's making those decisions? And what about resources? Who's paying? Where's the money coming from? Where could you get money if you needed it? What things are changing? And what about needs? What do people really need? You could also showcase your community by thinking about culture. Think about me. I come from England and I don't know anything about your village. What's the history? What's the heritage? Why don't you go and speak to some of your grandparents and find out what life was like when they were young? What places are there in your village? Some of you have got those little shops. How does the food get there? How do they sell things? How long has that shop been there? What about the gas when you fill up the car? Where does that come from? What about crafts? Are there particular skills that people know how to do in your village? Or skills, all those rich knowledge about farming, about preserving fruit, about drawing, and all sorts of skills that you've got in your village that you could showcase. Find out, do some masterclasses, teach people how to do the basics of pencil drawing or the basics of crocheting. Recipes, festivals, would all make fantastic stories. Then really think about the people. There's loads of different types of stories that you can write. One is called a day in the life. And that is really when you almost shadow somebody and you write about what their normal day, what time do they get up in the morning? What do they eat for breakfast? What do they do next? How long do they stay in the cafe? What do they do for a job? How do they drive? What car do they drive? What do they have for tea? What time do they go to bed? So that's a day in the life, and that works really well for someone like the mayor or a teacher or a farmer or maybe a mechanic. Maybe it's even a little child. What's her day life? You can also do a personal profile. So that's when you actually really ask lots of questions about that person. When were they born? How old are they? What do they dream about? What do they love? What are they most proud of? What do they have any regrets? Are there things they'd like to do in life? Have they travelled somewhere exciting? Or you could take the perspective of career and professions. Can you look at a teacher and explain what have they had to do to become a teacher? What qualifications? What things do they do? What do they have to learn? Do they need insurance? What about a doctor, a nurse? What about the community groups? Are there people that actually run those community groups? Or church? Have you got specific professions or skills in the village? A mechanic, perhaps, or a special gas engineer? All those things would make really interesting stories. And then, of course, there's your school. So think about making your whole school digital. So all the things that are on the wall, you could take pictures of those and upload those to the internet. When you have special sports events, maybe you can actually write a report on who's playing, who's in which position. Did you win? Did you lose? Are there particular groups like clubs, a wiki club? What about the homework that you're given? If it's given as a piece of paper, maybe you could take a picture of that or write it up as homework for tonight, and then people can access it from the devices. You could do a day in school, or even think about how to use the notice board for homework. Maybe you could set a challenge that everyone in class will write one piece into the notice board, perhaps about their pet. What is the name of their pet? When did they buy it? What do they do to look after it? Or they could all take a challenge to write about somebody in their family. And maybe they could do this in Russian or English or even in Armenian. But everybody could post to the notice board as part of their homework. There's also a type of journalism called opinion pieces. I'm sure there's lots of you that are really creative. Maybe you could write some stories, creative writing. Maybe you can do some artwork and upload that. Do some painting or drawing. Perhaps there's things you're reflecting about, dreams or feelings, or perhaps even politics. I think the interesting thing to remember is that if you say something is your opinion, I think, then that is not objective journalism. That's something different. It's still really valid, but understand the difference between saying something's your opinion and something that's more objective. Maybe you'd even like in your school or community to create a cast club. And what we want you to do in the club is to download content from around the web. Maybe it's videos, maybe it's pieces of information, maybe it's stories, maybe it's pictures. The important thing to remember is that you need to have either Creative Commons or you need to have permission to use it. And you can do that by searching creativecommons.org, or you can even take a story and just acknowledge where you've got it from. But if there's a channel, for example, on YouTube that you really like, it's worth contacting them and asking permission. Explain a little bit about the project, or tell Annie or me, and we can actually find out whether we can get the whole content on the devices for you. Really think about it as sharing like you do on Facebook, but instead of sharing from Facebook group to Facebook group, what you're actually doing is downloading from the internet so that you can share it across the village. There's a couple of techniques on how to ask questions, but things like looking around you, ask open questions, not closed ones. A closed question is when somebody would say, do you like LearnerPad? There's only two answers, yes or no. That's a closed question. What we really want is open questions. So what do you like about LearnerPad? Somebody's forced to answer much more detail, and that gives you a much better answer for your piece. Try and think about digitally recording village life. Maybe take a little bit of a video walking around the village. Maybe you could take a series of 10 pictures, all to do with flowers or recipes or food, just like you would for Instagram. and you can put those on cast. Don't forget to use the notice board whenever you are connected to the cast network and look at all the categories: weather, transport, politics, chat, health, recipes, all sorts of things. And you can upload content that way as well. There's loads of ways to find out more. Talk to Annie, talk to me, but we're really, really happy that you're getting involved with the project. Thank you very much.